Gaslighting is one of the most psychologically damaging forms of manipulation because it doesn't attack your body or your possessions. It attacks your reality. Over time, it can make intelligent, self-aware people doubt their own memories, perceptions, emotions, and even their sanity. Many people experience gaslighting without realizing what's happening until the damage is already deep. Understanding gaslighting is not about becoming paranoid or suspicious of everyone around you. It's about learning to recognize patterns of behavior that consistently undermine your sense of truth, agency, and self-trust. This awareness is the first step toward protecting your mental health and reclaiming your confidence. What gaslighting really is. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which one person systematically causes another to question their perception of reality. The goal is not merely to win an argument but to gain control over how you think, how you feel, and how you interpret events. Unlike ordinary disagreements, gaslighting follows a pattern. It involves repeated denial, distortion, and minimization of your experiences. Over time, the person being gaslighted starts relying more on the manipulator's version of reality than their own. The term originates from the 1938 play Gaslight, where a husband subtly alters his environment and insists his wife is imagining things, eventually making her doubt her sanity. While the term is now widely used, its psychological effects remain just as severe. The core purpose of gaslighting. At its core, gaslighting is about power. When someone controls your reality, they control your decisions, boundaries, and sense of self. A gaslighter often seeks to avoid accountability, maintain dominance in a relationship, protect their self-image, or manipulate outcomes in their favor. Importantly, gaslighting can occur in romantic relationships, friendships, families, workplaces, and even social or authority-based settings. It does not require yelling, insults, or obvious cruelty. In fact, some of the most effective gaslighting is delivered calmly and subtly. Key signs you're being gaslighted. 1. You constantly doubt your memory. One of the earliest signs of gaslighting is persistent self-doubt. You may clearly remember something happening, but the other person confidently denies it. Phrases like, "That never happened," "You're remembering it wrong," "You always exaggerate." Over time, you stop trusting your own recollection and begin asking others to confirm what you remember. This erosion of self-trust is not accidental. It is the foundation gaslighting relies on. 2. Your feelings are regularly invalidated. Gaslighters often dismiss emotions rather than addressing the issue that caused them. Common responses include, "You're too sensitive," "You're overreacting," "Why do you make everything a problem?" The message is subtle but powerful. Your emotions are not valid. When this happens repeatedly, you may start suppressing your feelings or apologizing for having them at all. 3. You apologize excessively. If you find yourself constantly saying, "I'm sorry," even when you're unsure what you did wrong, this can be a red flag. Gaslighting shifts blame so effectively that you internalize responsibility for conflicts, misunderstandings, and even the other person's behavior. You begin assuming fault by default just to keep the peace. 4. You feel confused after conversations. Healthy communication leads to clarity, even when it's uncomfortable. Gaslighting leaves you mentally foggy. After interactions, you may think, "I don't know how we got here. I was sure about my point, but now I'm not. Maybe I'm the problem." This confusion is intentional. When your thoughts feel tangled, it becomes harder to assert boundaries or challenge manipulation. 5. The person rewrites history. Gaslighters often revise past events to suit their narrative. They may acknowledge something one day and deny it the next. For example, promises are reframed as misunderstandings. Hurtful actions are minimized or denied. Past agreements are suddenly never said. When history becomes unstable, you lose a reliable reference point, and the gaslighter gains control of the story. 6. You feel like you're walking on eggshells. Many people being gaslighted become hyper-aware of their words and actions. You may carefully plan conversations, fearing backlash, denial, or emotional punishment. This constant self-monitoring is a stress response. Your nervous system recognizes that expressing yourself freely is no longer safe. 7. They portray themselves as the victim. When confronted, a gaslighter often flips the situation. They may say, I can't believe you'd accuse me of that. You're hurting me by bringing this up. I'm the one who's always trying. By shifting the focus to their own distress, they avoid accountability and make you feel guilty for speaking up. Why gaslighting is so effective? Gaslighting works because it targets fundamental psychological needs: trust, connection, and certainty. Humans are social creatures. We rely on others to help us interpret reality, especially in close relationships. When someone you trust repeatedly contradicts your perception, your brain experiences cognitive dissonance, a painful conflict between what you feel and what you're being told. To reduce this discomfort, many people unconsciously choose the path of least resistance, doubting themselves rather than questioning the relationship. The emotional impact of being gaslighted. Prolonged gaslighting can lead to a chronic self-doubt, anxiety and emotional numbness, a loss of confidence, difficulty making decisions, feeling disconnected from your identity. You may feel like a shadow of who you used to be. This is not because you are weak. It is because sustained psychological manipulation alters how the mind protects itself. How gaslighting differs from normal conflict. Not every disagreement is gaslighting. Healthy conflict allows space for differing perspectives without erasing one person's reality. Key differences. A healthy conflict. I see it differently, but I hear you. A gaslighting. Your version is wrong, and there's something wrong with you for thinking that. Gaslighting is about control, not misunderstanding. How to ground yourself when you suspect gaslighting. 1. Document your experiences. Writing things down helps anchor your reality. Journals, notes, or timelines can provide clarity when memory is questioned. 2. Trust patterns, not isolated incidents. Gaslighting is repetitive. Focus on consistent behaviors rather than one-off moments. 3. Seek outside perspective. Talking to a trusted friend, mentor, or counselor can help you reality check situations without judgment. 4. Reconnect with your inner signals. Your emotions, discomfort, and confusion are information, not flaws. Learning to listen to them again is a critical step toward healing. Why recognizing gaslighting is empowering. Recognition does not require confrontation. Simply naming the behavior internally can restore a sense of control. When you understand that the confusion is induced, not inherent, self-trust begins to return. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What's happening here?" That shift is powerful. Final thoughts. Gaslighting thrives in silence, self-doubt, and confusion. Awareness interrupts the cycle. If you are questioning your reality, emotions, or worth because of someone else's persistent denial or distortion, it's worth paying attention. Healthy relationships do not require you to abandon your perception of truth. Your memories matter. Your emotions matter. Your reality matters. Recognizing gaslighting is not about labeling others. It's about protecting yourself and reclaiming your psychological ground. And once you see it clearly, it becomes much harder to unsee.